Before we start, and I go off on a showgirls tangent, this week's Patreon shout out goes to Haley Lass. Haley Lass. Because if that isn't the most Geordiest name I have ever heard, and I don't know if you're a Geordie, I don't know where you're from. That is literally what anyone in the northeast of England would say to someone called Haley. You'd be like, I read Haley Lass. That has tickled me something chronic. So thank you for being a Patreon member. Thank you for supporting us, even though we are absolute fucking crotch goblins. Yutaka hates me. On to the video. Welcome to the Horror Hour.
We all go a little mad. We get you. Here's Johnny.
Hello and welcome to the Horror Hour. It's a place where we discuss, debate, and disagree on all things horror. I'm one of your hosts, Liam. Hello. And joining me today is my co-host, Yutaka. Welcome, Yutaka.
Howdy.
Oh, very American.
I practiced real hard on that one.
Oh, well done. We're all very proud of you. We're cheering you on from the sidelines. One day you'll get an accent.
Like, Rudy. If you've ever seen that movie.
Giuliano?
No.
I think we all know I have not watched that. On today's episode, since it is just me and Yutaka, we thought, what is a better time to talk about something underrated? Because we're underrated people in life. So we are going to be talking about underrated villains. Villains that we believe to be underrated. And why do we believe them to be underrated? So,
because
go on.
Underrated in terms of we don't hear about them that often. They're not often talked about. They're franchises or maybe a one-off that doesn't really get its due.
Exactly that. And this, we would actually, I should have gotten this name up sooner. I just need to zoom in because I have old people eyes. We would like to thank Chelsea Christina because she did recommend this on our latest video, and both myself and Yutaka read her list of recommendations and went, yes, you know what you're talking about.
We're probably going to steal all those ideas, so thank you.
Literally all of them.
And you will be getting credit for each and every one of them.
So thank you, Chelsea, darling. Or was it Crystal? What did I say?
It's Chelsea, isn't it?
Chelsea. Yeah. Where the
Literally, we're going to put out a post too, like, it's Liam and I recording today. What should we talk about? And I saw your comment. I go, oh my God, it's like you read our mind. Even though it's 6 days old, and I'm so sorry. I'm normally on top of the comments.
Mind. So thank you. So, Yutaka.
Not you with the fame eyebrows.
Do you imagine if I got an eyebrow lift? My eyebrows would look perfect. I don't even pluck these motherfuckers. They're just naturally beautiful.
I like my furry caterpillars, so I don't care.
So, Yutaka, with your delightful caterpillars, would you like to tell me your first underrated villain?
Yeah, you? No. Honestly, we don't
I'm not a villain. I'm America's sweetheart.
He's on the no-flies list. But, we don't talk about this movie as much as I would like to because I'm a huge fan of the two films, and that's The Collector or The Collection.
I did assume that this would be yours because I was going to put this on my list as well.
Well, also because we are getting the third one now.
Finally, yes.
Well, that's been in like legal and development hell. Like they were filming the third one, and then obviously lockdown, pandemic, and like people like were stealing from the set, and then I think there was some like production stuff and maybe some embezzlement, allegedly, kind of thing, you know. So yeah, I didn't even think we were ever gonna see it. but I'm really excited to hear about that. And we don't talk about those two films because they are some really good horror films with nasty gore,
Very
disgusting
that.
gore. And I love like the mousetrap like scenario, like all these different traps around the house or I guess warehouse that you've got to get out of. And that dude is like a mastermind. And like the club scene. Oh, I love that scene so much. Oh, it just gives me, oof. It just gets me going.
Moist.
Yeah. So
Kinky.
that would be, to me, an underrated villain.
I appreciate that one. As I said, I was also going to, I was like, the collector. And then I went, there is quite a high chance Yutaka picks that one. Let's go back to the drawing board. And of course, first one up. So, yeah. But I am so excited that we're getting a third one. I love the first two. It's delightfully, what's the word? Creepy.
Oh, I didn't mean to. Sorry.
Hello?
That was me. Sorry.
It's delightfully creepy. And in your, like you said, Mousetrap, it is literally like someone when, you know what board game would make a good horror film? Let's make Mousetrap the horror. Like they tried to make Mousetrap the film. Obviously, it didn't work because it wasn't very good. Turn it into a horror, and you have gold. Obviously, for legal reasons, we'll call it The Collector. But yes, I'm glad the legal stuff, even though we don't fully know, or is all alleged, glad that is over with, and we can finally get back to having the third one. Because we've got the Collector. The first one was the Collector. Then it was the Collection. So what will be the third one?
Be the Collected. I'm not sure if they've really released what they believe it like. I'll wait.
I'd like my royalties, thank you.
They're like, we're already filming, and then I'll be like, yes, we're really getting it. But now it's just kind of like a discussion thing.
Yes. Well, we'll get our hopes up when we actually start seeing stuff from it. So that is a good thing. So for my first one,
I'm going to pause real quick.
I am going to go with Rusty Nail.
Oh,
Joyride.
Okay.
Head Levine.
Oh, he did the voice. Yes.
Yeah, Ted Levine.
It's sexy.
It is a sexy voice.
It's pretty hot.
Yeah. Even though he's a creep.
In real life?
Like in the movie.
Oh, okay. Because I loved him on Monk. Sorry.
No, like in the movie, obviously, like he's like creepy and but yeah, overall, I love Joyride as a film, and I think it works so well because of how I'm trying to think of the word, like non-stop Rusty Nail is. He does not give a flying fuck. Like he is just all out. Like, I will do this. I'm going to continue doing this. I'm not going to give up. You will be fucking sorry for what you did to me. And you will fucking pay for it. And I love that.
Have you seen the sequels?
No, I've only just found out now that there is sequels.
Should. They're insane. I'm not saying they're good, but well, you know what? Knowing you, they're like bad good. Let me put it that way.
Okay, I love a bad good.
And they're actually
unlike The Crow. I also I vaguely remember them mentioning, isn't there like there's like a longer cut, there's also like multiple different endings.
I don't remember what they were, but I do remember that they've yeah. Because I don't think the one chick was supposed to survive. I thought.
The girl from Deep Impact.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say her name.
Lily Sobieski.
There we go. I don't think I'm.
But yeah, no, there were multiple like longer cuts, and there were other things that I would have liked to have seen. So, I mean, I liked the style of the movie too. It was very like, I don't know how to explain it. It was definitely like, when I say darker, I don't mean it like lighting wise, and not like an AVP2. This was more like it worked for it, and like I loved when they were like in the
It was around the same
room.
time as. Yeah,
like,
it was around the same time
that.
they did the Texas remake. It had the same kind of
hue. Is that what I'm thinking?
Hue, yeah. Like the browns were very brown. Everything else was very yellowy.
Yes.
Yeah. No, love the film. Love Pink.
I loved Joyride at the time, but I don't love it as much as I used to. I will say that.
So, I will say, yes.
For me, it doesn't hold up.
It holds.
It does.
So, I'm kind of like, I'm teetering on the edge of like half you, half does. Like half your opinion, half not your opinion, if that makes sense. Like, I think I had rose tinted glasses of obviously from just watching it as a younger person. But then when I did rewatch it, like not that long ago, I thought more happened. So I feel like I might have watched one of the alternate cuts when I was younger.
Well, I think too. I'll be honest. Like when I watch it now, I'm bored. But when it came out in cinemas, though, because I'm old, I do remember seeing it in theaters, and I think it was also because did well in theaters in a sense. So it was a packed theater. So I think there was a lot going on with the theater experience, and so even if it wasn't a lot going on per se, there were people around who were like freaking out or shivering or like, oh my God. Like, so it just added to it. And so I think like when I originally watched it, I was like, oh my God, this is great. Like I was having a blast. I remember like walking out and like, that was a good movie. And then, yes, I watched this maybe 2 or 3 years ago. No, about 2 years ago, I rewatched it. I go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I did kind of get that feeling. It didn't like give me enough of the feeling where I was like, oh, well, I don't like this anymore. Like I still enjoyed it. I just was like, oh, so it's not as good as I thought, but it's still like enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I seen it. Yeah. That was mine. That was my first pick. Yutaka, do you have a pick number 2?
I do. Now, this one it's not really even underrated in terms of the movie itself, but I think people forget it is kind of a horror film, but we lump it into fantasy action instead. And sir, calm down. Not you jumping. So The Mummy. Many people don't think of it.
Yeah.
But when that movie came, that is legit fantasy horror. But people sometimes don't, because let's talk about like the beetle scene.
Oh my God. So scary.
It's disgusting. So I look at that film and I think people love it, and I do. And honestly, it holds up. Yeah. We don't talk about the third one. We don't talk about that. We don't address that. But I do think like that Arnold
Rachel Weisz jumped for a reason.
Yeah, Arnold Vosloo, or who played the Mummy. He did such a good job, and he actually plays the villain in so many things. And he's really good at it. He
was in that 90s Dungeons and Dragons film.
Well, we don't talk about that too, yeah.
With Marlon Wayans.
Yeah. He was in I don't think you watched the show Bones.
No.
He killed off like a very beloved character in it. Like it was oh yeah, no, he was so good in that. And he actually took over the role of Darkman from Liam Neeson. So he plays a lot of like either anti-hero or villain roles. And so this actor in general, I think, is somewhat underrated. But when I just have to throw in The Mummy because we don't talk about it enough on this channel. You should know, like, it's one of my favorite films. I loved it growing up. It's a thrill ride, and it is so creepy because the bug scenes are nasty. And also when, like, they're getting trapped, all this, and then the iconic that I remember when it came out and everyone, you're still in the theater, like, when he, like, comes up as the sand monster. Come on.
Amazing.
I think we all talk about how much we love the movie because of everything in it, but we should also really credit that actor and The Mummy in general. I'm just that would be one. I don't know if that counts as underrated because again,
I would agree with you because obviously the topic isn't underrated films, so we should obviously caveat. This isn't underrated film. This is underrated villain, and when like as a group you talk about The Mummy, you talk about like how good the visuals were for when it was, apart from the second one with the Scorpion King. You talk about
Brendan Fraser, or like
you talk about Brendan Fraser, you talk about Rachel Weisz, you talk about the comedy that John Hannah brought.
Oh,
like
it was so good.
But you rarely you talk about how good the visuals were on The Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
But you rarely talk about how good his acting was and how good he was as a villain. And he was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was terrifying. And like you say, them scarab scenes are fucking traumatizing. I don't need to see that. Like, when it's
and he's also low-key, he's sexy too.
Once he's fully transformed, yes.
We're like, which also, too, that was creepy, like the continual process. Like, I loved that. Like, again,
like everything about that movie as a whole stands up to this day. The first one,
mm-hmm.
There was issues with the CGI in the second one.
No, agreed.
But the first one, the visuals are perfect, and especially considering when it came out, it's amazing what they were able to do. So fully on board for it. It was such like he is an amazing villain. He is terrifying. He terrified a generation of children. He was amazing.
He was.
So no, I fully support you saying
filmography because he does. He's got like really great villainous roles, and some of it's his face too because it just looks like he's gonna murder you. But it's funny because if you see him in interviews, he's really charismatic and funny. And I'm like, that is weird because every time I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna murder me. You can, but oh my god, like. Sorry, his
George
arms.
disappears for 1 week, and all of a sudden, you tag us now a horny. Well,
I'm here to fill the hole. Roll.
Oh my god, disgusting. Well, thank you. No, I approve. I agree. I support this message.
I don't approve, but I'm happy.
You should because we are in. I don't know. But if you approve of what we're doing here, make sure to hit that like button down below. If you are not subscribed, please do subscribe. It is very helpful to us. Please. If you would also like to see these episodes early, you can go onto our Patreon, which is linked down below, and you get early access to these videos. You also get an extra bonus episode called After Hours, where you get to basically listen to us chat shite for half an hour, where so you can see what
we talk shit on YouTube
is going on in our lives. Yeah, we talk shit on YouTubers, everything. We discuss who we think is going to be in David's burn book diss track when he eventually releases it. So yes, if you would like to join us, the details are all down below. I will go on with my second pick, and I'm going to pick Calvin from Life.
I hated that movie.
I understand why people would have issues, could possibly have issues with the movie. It wasn't perfect. However, that little creepy, floaty, floofy thing was fucking terrifying. When it, like, still to this day, the scene of when he's interacting with it, I don't know, like when he's got it's in the containment.
The box and he puts his hands.
It's in the box and he puts his hands in the gloves. And that scene to this day, like, I am on the edge of my seat because I know what's coming and it's so uncomfortable. It makes me so uncomfortable to watch it. It's just like, you're like, oh, is it now? Oh, God, it hasn't happened yet. Oh, God, is it now? And yes, do I agree? Do I think that the ending was ridiculous? Yes. Should the movie have been a Venom origin story? Yes.
It was, yeah.
But I think he was super creepy. Obviously wasn't as good as Alien, but it was nice to be in that kind of world again. Because obviously we hadn't had an Alien movie for a very, very long time at that point. That was good. So it was good to be back in that kind of world. It was good to be in space. It was good to have like a creature stalking people. And I think the idea of just a Morbus blob is a fun idea. Like the fact that it could like just snap your arm with it being, even though it's like, it just looks like a piece of jelly that you've left on a plate. But that piece of jelly can break your fucking leg. Like, that is a good villain. That is a good
could go watch the
villain.
80s movie The Blob too.
Could, but I'm not going to because it's 80s.
Don't go watch Life. Go watch The Blob.
You can watch both, Yutaka.
You could.
It's on one of the many lists, so I'm just I'll watch you. And then I find something that I've already seen 1,000 times and watch that. Up until the scene where you realise they've done the switcheroo, I was like, it's kind of, oh God, you really have to end it like this, knowing that it's going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fair enough. Like I said, we knew. Fair enough, right? If we went into it, because obviously Ryan Reynolds has had that. Obviously, he spoke about having the idea of making a film with Hugh and pretending that it was something completely different, and then obviously you walk into it and it turns out it was Deadpool and Wolverine. So Life would have been such a good idea to be like, no, this is a film called Life. And then you walk in and then they're like, ha, surprise, cockbags, it's Venom. I think that film would have set the world on fire. I think people would have shit the bed because it was something that's never been done. It would have been super clever of them. And I think it would have really, especially considering it came from the same studio as well. Like, it's not even like it came from this was like a Universal film and Sony's over there making Venom. Like, we knew Venom was coming. The casting had already been done. And it was the same studio. Why didn't you just say, surprise, it's a Venom origin story? Like, that would have given people, I think that would have made people pay much more attention to Life and seen it in a better positive, put a better positive spin on it. But they didn't. And people don't really like it. I enjoy it. I think it's silly. I think the acting's fun. I think Ryan Reynolds, for the short time he's in it's fun. I think Jake Gyllenhaal, I also enjoyed him. Rebecca Ferguson, I love her in everything she does. She is my queen. So yeah, Calvin, not Klein, the alien.
Okay.
That is my second pick. Thank you for your time. Thank you for my moment. Taka, do you have a third pick?
This is actually both an underrated movie and an underrated villain, because I don't know if we actually talked about this movie. I don't think you've actually probably seen it, but it's called May. It's a horror film, an actual horror film starring Angela Bettis, but also starring Anna Faris.
I have not seen it, no, but I do
You know
remember
the poster,
poster.
probably? Yeah, so it's a socially awkward veterinary assistant with a lazy eye who has an obsession with perfection, and so it descends into depravity after developing a crush on a boy with perfect hands. And yes, she ends up murdering a lot of people so she can make the perfect doll. Really, honestly, you should see it. There's more to it, and it's really great. The performances are fantastic, and it's very interesting because yes, she is incredibly socially
Where
awkward,
is it in the UK?
but she starts to come out of her box after she starts to murder people and chop them up, so she
I
can
mean,
sew
don't
them.
we all come out of our box once we've murdered people?
To make something new and perfect. And the ending's really good, but I won't spoil that.
It's on Prime.
It's really good. I think it's
I can
only
watch
like
it.
90 minutes, right?
Oh, good. A short one.
Well,
like a short one.
But it's
I have it
a
open.
movie
I've just went to look at
that
it.
I don't think we've talked about before.
An hour
but
and 33 minutes.
Yep, I watched it.
It'll be like an hour and 20
I haven't
with.
seen it in a while, actually, so maybe I should rewatch. I liked it a lot, actually, and it is. Oh, it's so good. It's like a low budget indie horror that just gets crazy. And
No, like I've remembered the poster is very distinctive, and it has to. And so as soon as I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that poster. I just never seen the movie.
It's good. Like, don't get me wrong, too. You kind of feel for her because obviously you can kind of see there's, there's something there mentally, or like she's flawed in a way and she's struggling and just all of this. But obviously, then once she starts killing people, like, okay, well, she's actually bad. But you still want to see how this all turns out. And I thoroughly enjoy it. And yeah, it was crazy because I don't know when Scary Movie came out. Was that 2000? But it was interesting because it was crazy to see Anna Faris in an actual
2000, yeah.
Okay, actual horror flick. And it was just kind of cool.
And then Scary Movie 2 was 2001.
So, okay, right on the heels of that, she did this. And again, this was very low budget. So not a lot
it
of people
goes
saw it.
Scary Movie 2, May, Scary Movie 3.
Yeah, so if you want to see her in horror, check this out. It's really good, but also Angela Bettis playing the title role of May, so awesome. And she's gone on now to actually write horror films as well. So I'm really huge fan. Yeah.
Good times. Good times. No, it's now on me just watch, so it'll be watched. It'll be watched. It's on Prime as well, so it's quite easy to watch as well. It's half the time when you say you should watch these films, I'm like, well, I don't have a DVD player from the 1947 when.
Streamio's never stopped your ass.
But yeah, that's the problem. Sometimes Streamio with smaller films don't have.
Got you. Good copies.
Yeah. So thank you for the recommendation. If you would want to watch it, please do tell us down below in the comments. So for my third pick, I'm double dipping with an actor, but he's not one of the villains. He's just in it. I'm going with the mutant family from The Hills Have Eyes.
I was going to say, if you were about to say Silence of the Lambs, I was like, girl, that is not underrated villain. He was. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying, because The Hills Have Eyes.
I'm going with Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. The Hills Have Eyes, great. I love the original. More people like the original. I actually enjoy the visceral and guttural, like just oof. Of the remake. 2's a little much, but oof. Yeah, those mutant people. Oh, they
terrified the living shit out of me. And it was only because of that toilet scene.
That was actually a very tense moment, so I could see it.
I was just like, am I ever supposed to poop? Like that the prosthetics on the mutants are top tier. They're great. These mutants look like mutants. They look like they're supposed to look, and they look terrifying. They're also stupidly vicious and do not give a flying. Like, they do not care what they're going to do to you. Obviously, I know the first one has that very well. To be fair, both of them have
Yes.
but they have obviously a very high rating for a reason. And yes, they are uncomfortable, but they are over quite quickly. So it's not like they stick around. So we can just close our eyes and then them parts are gone. But it's. I feel like we don't really. When we talk about like crazy horror families, we always talk about like Texas. Like it's always Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's always Leatherface. It's always.
I can't remember if the families or the mutant family has names, but I totally get it because I mean they are brutal, absolutely brutal when they are killing.
Bury that.
And it's so good. Like that's why I love the first one. It is like so much gore. The second one, I still enjoy it because you get a lot of kills. But yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is so nasty, and I like that. And yes, we don't really call them out in terms of like being up there as top tier, like in terms of horror villains. Because I'm trying to think how many mutant families there are. There's them. You like you said, you also not really mutant family, a horrible family in Texas. You've got Wrong Turn, the hillbilly family. And there's a couple more that I'm trying to think of, but you know, they're just not one we talk about. And yeah, I would agree.
They always like creep me out because they're just so wet.
Well, yes, because there was a lot of blood.
They always just look really sweaty. Like you would touch them and your hand would slip.
Well,
because they just look like sweaty and slimy and
they're in the desert, and I don't feel like they have AC.
But you would think if they're mutants who've grown up in the desert, their bodies would have acclimatized. But yes, I really enjoyed The Hills Have Eyes 1 and 2. I've never actually seen the original. Blasphemy. I've seen these ones, and I've really enjoyed them.
Like, I like the first one. I don't know about, because it's slightly different in terms of story. Like, there's a different, there's like several changes, but I didn't mind the first one at all. But I know a couple of people aren't a fan of it, and I'm like, I wouldn't say I hate it. It just wasn't one that like really got me going. But this remake, though, I really had a blast with it. So, but yeah, we don't talk about that mutant family enough.
Do not, and we should.
Do a lot of damage.
They do so much damage. They have very inventive kills, especially in the second one. I feel like some of the kills in the second one are very, very inventive.
Nasty.
Yeah. So that is why I wanted to bring them to the forefront.
Okay.
Thank you. So, Yutaka, to roll us out, do you have any honorable mentions?
No honorable mentions.
Okay, no honorable mentions.
Like, because what I'm thinking, it's not necessarily either the villain or it might just be some like creature effects, but
okay. I have one honorable mention. The only reason I didn't put her on my list was because I feel like I talk about this movie quite a lot. So people are probably sick of me talking about it, and that is Lola Stone from The Loved Ones. Her and her father's little creepy, awful, symbiotic relationship is disgusting and weird. What she does to that poor boy is disgusting and weird. And I just really enjoyed that film, and I feel like more people should watch it. It's not Pugger's fault, it's from Australia. So don't punish the film because you want to punish Pugger. Watch The Loved Ones.
There's a lot of good horror films that come from Australia that people should be watching, but yeah, just saying.
I know.
But you mentioning that makes me think of another horror villain, John Candy in Cloverfield Lane, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, John Candy.
Or not John Candy, John Goodman. John Candy's the comedian. Oh my God.
That's what I was like, John Candy. Okay.
No, John Goodman.
John Goodman. Yeah.
In 10 Cloverfield Lane. Yeah, he was terrifying and
I wouldn't
brutal.
say he was underrated, though. I feel like quite a lot of people praise him.
But not a lot of people still talk about it.
We talked about it like 2-3 weeks ago.
We did? Oh, I don't remember.
The What If episode.
Oh, did we? Oh, well, I guess we did. Early on.
It's fine, Grandma Utica. We all love you dearly.
Get that coffin ready.
Don't worry, it'll have all the perfect silk lining for you.
F
Nice
that
brass
cremate
knobs.
my ass.
So,
away.
well, we're gonna put you in the nice coffin to burn you, though.
Are you paying for that? Coffins are expensive, y'all.
All right, I'll just trick you in a bonfire then. We'll sing a couple of songs by. I'll get George to sing.
Oh my god.
He'll sing you.
There too.
He'll sing you some Boys to Men. As you're getting set on fire. I'll make love to you like you want me to.
Make sure Idina Menzel is at George's funeral.
Oh, obviously. And she's singing Defying Gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So thank you for joining us this week. If you would, as I said in the middle of the episode, if you would like this content early or more content from us with the After Hours that we are going to be recording right now, please do hop on over to our Patreon, where all the details are linked below. You can also catch us on our socials, which is Instagram and Twitter. I will not be calling it X because that is stupid. We are at the Horror Hour TV. You can also catch Yutaka on his own channel now, where he is reacting to multiple different things. He's currently going through a Doctor Who binge. So if you are a Doctor Who fan, get on over there. He's having a great time and he loves Doctor Who like us.
And you should know, I do have a Patreon. I'm going to plug that shit. You get 4 episodes a week, which is actually 12 episodes a month. I am knocking through this. It's only been 2-3 months. I'm series 3, episode 4 of Doctor Who, series 1, episode 11 of Torchwood. I'm going in order. And I already told George I'm doing the Adventures of Sarah Jane as well. I'm getting the full friggin' experience.
So thank you for joining us today. Hope to see you next time. Goodbye.
Hey.
You have been listening to the Horror